Well, hello. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm Sarah Janes from soapschool.com, and we help aspiring entrepreneurs to start their own soap and cosmetics companies. Now, today I wanted to do a project that was inspired by all of the amazing people that have been helping us during the pandemic. And there are just so many people, not just in this country, but literally globally, who are there on the front line helping us every single day. And I can't be more grateful. We are incredibly lucky here in the UK because we have free healthcare, and I know that some people are not as fortunate, but the nurses and the doctors and all of those frontline staff are really going above and beyond. So I wanted to do a soap that was inspired by the love that the public have for the people who are making such a difference. And so I've called this soap Share the Love. Now, I already have all of my oils and my lye. Now, whilst I weigh my oils out, I'm going to quickly talk about the colorant that I've pre-mixed. I've just used some red iron oxide with a little bit of my oil, and it's not a color I use all the time, but it is absolutely lovely. So I hope that you enjoy the color combo for this project. Now, I've also mixed a little bit of gold mica with some oil, and I'm just using a small pipette, and I'm just literally splattering and squirting the oil mica onto the sides of the silicone mold. Now, this particular mold came from Amazon. You can buy it online very easily from a wide range of other suppliers too. Now, when you are doing this, do not worry about the dots not being perfect and about them running and splattering, because I'm going to be showing you how you can fix all of that in post-production. So I've added my lye solution into my warmed oils, and I'm just going to burp my stick blender and just take this to a light trace. I'm going to split this between 3 different colours. So I'm going to use a darker red, I'm going to use a more pinky tone, and I'm just going to use a little bit of titanium dioxide in one of the portions to lighten it up so it's a little bit more white. So this first one is just the red iron oxide on its own. I'm just going to mix it until it's properly incorporated. Because it's a pigment, it is a little bit more tricky to get it to mix in properly. And then the second one, I've got a little bit less of the red iron oxide, but to that I'm going to add some pre-wetted titanium dioxide as well. And it's just going to give it this really lovely pinky colour, like an earthy pink. And then for the final colour, I'm just going to use the titanium dioxide on its own, and it's just going to knock off some of that yellowness that comes from a lot of the oils. I'm just going to pour down the side of the jug and just alternate the colours randomly. Now this soap is already thickening up. I didn't have an awful lot of olive oil in the cupboards at home because it's very difficult to get hold of some ingredients at the moment, and what I did have was quite a large amount of macadamia oil, so I decided to do a 50-50 split between the olive oil and the macadamia oil, and it really has made quite a big difference to the speed that it's set up. And for the essential oil blend in this particular batch, I decided to use petitgrain and sweet orange. And you can see I'm just alternating the colours in the jug, and I'm just doing enough to make, and I'm literally just doing enough so that I can fill just 1 or 2 cavities at a time. Well, here are these beautiful soaps turned out, and they might not be looking quite as you anticipated at this time, but I want to show you how you can absolutely transform these with a couple of really simple steps. And I think all of us have some soap sometime where you look at the soap that's come out of the moulds and you think, oh my goodness, that's nothing like how I anticipated or what I wanted. But this is not the finished product. So let me just show you what we're going to do to just transform these a little bit. So the first thing I want to do is to level off the bottoms a little bit, and for that I'm just going to use a planer. Now, if you don't have a planer, you can use something like a kitchen mandolin, and that will work just as well. But you can see at the bottom it's just a little bit uneven from where we've filled the mould, and I want to just level that off. So I'm just going to use some kitchen towel over the top and just push gently and just start to level off all of the back of your mould. And of course, the more uneven it was when you've poured it, the more you're going to have to plane this off. And I suggest just switching it round so that you're not necessarily planing it from the same side every time. It just gives you a more even finish. And then if you have got any imperfections going around the edges, just clean them up with your kitchen towel at the same time, just so that you haven't got any hang up at all. And we're just going to pop that to one side, and we'll rinse and repeat this same process for all of them. So again, we've got a nice big lump there. It's going to need to be planed off. So use my kitchen towel. Using the kitchen towel on the top really just means that I'm not putting my hands all over the bar and damaging the surface in any way. Nice and smooth. It's a lovely swirl inside that one, so whoever is lucky enough to get this bar is going to find the most beautiful design as they actually start washing with this. All of the way through the bar. Clean up those edges a little bit, and that one is also done. And I'm going to do this with all of them, and then we'll come back. Now the next thing that I'm going to do once they're nice and flat and level is to clean up the surface a little bit. And you can see we've got drips that have run down. You might want that effect, but it's not going to give me the best look, and especially on something like this where I've got lots of drips that have gone down the side, it's really not adding to the overall design. So we're going to clean this up a little bit, and all we need to do is to take a baby wipe, just fold it in to 4, and then we're just gently going to go over some of these areas and clean off the areas that you don't want. And it's really easy. You can clean up around some of the little dots. So if they've run, you can make it back into a dot. If you've got a proper dribble and you don't want that full dribble, or any of the lines that you've done are a little bit too thick, this is where we can just clean them right up and take it back to a design that's more in keeping with what you wanted. Now I don't want to take all of this off because I want some of the finer pieces and I want some of the larger ones. But if you find that there's just too much, like for example here there's a big cluster of them together, then I can actually just take the baby wipe and just wipe into one of those areas and I can completely remove that dot if I want to, and that will just get rid of that excess. Likewise, right next to it, it's not very even and I can clean that up just a little bit and just make it a little bit more symmetrical and more refined. Now, this is getting a little bit pedantic and you certainly don't need to do this, but I know there are many people out there, soap makers, who really are very particular about the finish of their products. They want everything to be as perfect as possible. And there are just times when you're not happy with the design, and it really is so simple to just clean some of this up. And it's making it a lot better. Now, if you do smear the top at all with your fingers, or it's just a bit messed up, you can clean all of that up too in exactly the same way. Doesn't that look a lot better now? Just by cleaning up all of those excess areas, just making it that little bit tidier and a little bit more refined. I think that looks great. Now, if you don't want to use a baby wipe, that's absolutely fine too. It works very well with a microfiber cloth. And you can even use rubbing alcohol just with a microfiber cloth. Works brilliantly too. And just allow these to fully dry before, of course, you do any wrapping. Now, I think these are looking a million times better than they did when they first came out the molds. I've got lots of lovely interest on the surface, from those large areas to really fine speckles. And you can refine this in a million ways to create your own design. But I hope you have a lot of fun with this one. And if anything, I hope it just shows you that it doesn't have to be perfect when you're making your soap. In this particular recipe, the batter was thickening up and we were fighting that. We still got beautiful swirls. So don't kind of be worrying too much. There's always someone who is going to appreciate the love and the care that you've put into your products just as much as you. If you have enjoyed hanging out with me today, why not click on the subscribe button? And if you ding the bell, you'll get a notification every time that I upload a new video. And if you want to learn more about Soap School, you can visit us at soapschool.com. I'll see you in the next video.
Down in the dungeon is all we know, where the shining light, we never go into the open. As far as you can see it, wasting there, a big bright destiny. Don't you feel